The Spanish Announce Table.
Episode 425 of the Spanish Announce Table is finally live. We're live, pal. And Tom, before we get started, I got to say, for anybody who's listening later on the podcast, I want to remind everybody that you can watch us live on the YouTube, normally Thursday nights, sometimes Wednesday nights when people, myself, have something to do. And if you were watching this live on the YouTube, you could chat along with us like Jeffrey Sills and Theo already are, patiently waiting as they were for us to get our heads out of our collective rear ends and get this thing off live on the air, live streaming, so they can see us. And for those that can't see us, Tom, we got to talk about the hat. I like your hat.
Yeah. Hey, man, look, it's the Tarmac Super Bowl 57 Kansas City Chiefs hat.
Right, it is.
Hot off the presses.
Right, it's a nice hat. I wish I had the hat. I need to talk about the bill of the hat, Tom. We always put up a fun background behind us, and we do that via the usage of green screens. And the bill of Tom's hat is it's turquoise, so it's kind of messing with the green screen. So I don't know if you. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, so yeah, like I said, this was the tarmac hat, which means they got this hat when they got on the tarmac off of their plane. So this is the pre-Super Bowl hat. Tim, I think I got you covered. 1 second.
Okay. All right. Yeah. See, this is the magic of workshopping this stuff live for everybody. So you should join us on the YouTube Spanish Announce Tube. Look at that.
How about this hat? This is the Super Bowl 57 championship hat.
Right.
Does this one work better?
The hat that they give to the winners of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is the winner hat.
Right.
Super Bowl.
The Kansas City Chiefs
champions.
won the Super Bowl this year. Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. So you could get hats like that. You could also, to pair with your hats, you could get a Spanish Announce Table shirt, which you can find at Pro Wrestling Tees. Just search for Spanish Announce Table. You'll find it. But you know what? Folks want to talk about the wrestling. We had AEW Revolution, which was awesome, if you ask me, but you will ask me a lot about it as we go throughout this episode. And then, of course, just ending about half an hour ago, we had AEW Dynamite, which I'm excited to talk about as well. And Theo P in the chat says, "Get bent, Eagles." Sorry about your luck, Eagles. Except Jason Kelsey, like that guy. And then we're going to talk a few things.
Love Jason Kelsey.
Then we're going to talk a few things WWE related, which is rare from us these days. But we like to chime in on what's happening.
We're on the road. We're on the road to WrestleMania, so it only feels appropriate that we put a fucking roadblock in that shit because it sucks. Except for one thing, which is honestly one of the best things they've ever done in the history of that godforsaken, soulless suckhole of a company called WWE.
Yeah, we've got a positive thing to talk about with WWE and a negative. So it's not just us shitting on WWE the whole time when we get to that.
Hey, so yes,
Mostly
we
positive.
are doing this the night. Yeah, we are doing this the night of AEW Dynamite. So let's talk about AEW Dynamite. We'll do it in chronological order, starting with the top of the show. And it kicked off with, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the AEW All-Atlantic Championship champion Orange Cassidy taking on challenger Jay Lethal. Man, I tell you what, I said this on our Twitter at Table Show while I live tweet during the show, but the MVP of AEW honestly feels like Orange Cassidy. What do you think?
I think so, and I think they were even hitting on it from the commentary booth, and I think they talked about, 14 of his last 16 matches he's come out the victor. Been going on a decent, longest reigning All-Atlantic champion at this point, I think. Short-lived title so far.
Well, yeah, there's been two.
Yeah,
there's two.
Oh, has there only been two? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's been Pac and it's been Orange Cassidy. It's
nothing
like
beats
when
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's like when Chris Jericho was the first AEW inaugural champion, and he called himself the youngest AEW champion of all time. It's like, there's not really history to this.
Yeah, there's not really history to this. And you know what? I feel like Jeffrey Sills is in the chat talking about it. So maybe we will bring that up after we discuss this match here, the All-Atlantic Championship here. But what the match itself, this was a fun match, a great way to start Dynamite. I think you mentioned it while you were live tweeting on Twitter at Table Show. You can follow us. Tom live tweets during the Dynamites, the Rampages, the special events, and tonight was no exception. But I think you were discussing here how like these guys just had great chemistry in the ring.
Yeah, they really do. For two guys that, at least to the best of my knowledge, don't have a lot of ring time together, you wouldn't know it by watching their matches. They flow together well. And sometimes you just hit it off as far as in-ring chemistry with someone else. And these two guys have it in spades. So it was a really enjoyable match. Orange Cassidy does pick up the victory. Good psychology here because Jay Lethal tried to hit the worst finisher, which is his, in pro wrestling with that stupid ass, I'm going to do a back spring bullshit, but he couldn't do it because the shoulder was injured, which then led to Orange Cassidy picking up the victory. So I like the story that was told, the knees, the injured knees of Orange Cassidy, the injured shoulder of Jay Lethal. And the reason why I said that Orange Cassidy is kind of the MVP of AEW is, yes, he is currently, and again, we'll get to it a little bit later because it changes a little bit, but he is currently, as we're talking here, the All-Atlantic champion, but he didn't even defend that title on the pay-per-view on Sunday. He was in a title match for the tag team championships with Danhausen, just showing you the versatility of like, yeah, plug and play Orange Cassidy anywhere and it'll be fine or great.
Yeah, I like Orange Cassidy a lot. I do think it can be formulaic at times, but I still don't feel like it's ran its course either, right? I don't feel like I'm tiring of it, which I think most people with a singular gimmick that they kind of just hit on the nail on the head, as they say, over and over and over again, you kind of tire way quicker than I think we have with Orange Cassidy. But that's also mostly probably because it's just cool, right? I mean, he's portraying a guy who's too cool for school, as it were, but he does it in a way that's actually cool and it's fun.
So what I think is interesting is he's kind of done a pivot from when we started AEW. If you recall back when we started AEW in 2019, the gimmick of Orange Cassidy was, I don't even know if I have enough energy to get in this ring, right? It was, he's gonna try. That was the thing that was Orange Cassidy, was he's gonna try. But then he switched gears and kind of switched focus right around the time after Chris Jericho and that Mimosa Mayhem match that he had with Jericho, where then he went into kind of a mode of, hey, I'm too cool for school, like you said. However, I'm here to fucking win championships and be the shit because I know I am. So there's been a little bit of a difference in his character without changing completely whole philosophy of who he is. So I still think that is what helps him stay relevant. But I would agree with you, and I've said it before on the podcast, less is more with Orange Cassidy. Even though as champion, you can do this and have him associated with other storylines or advance his own storylines if it's going to be like with Yuta, for example. But if you really want to maximize the pop for Orange Cassidy, kind of like with anyone really, if they're over, which he is, less is more. Have him showing up, in Ricky Stark's dressing room, handing him a dress shirt, something silly like that. And it's like, Orange Cassidy, he's the best. So, but man, he has been killing it right here. So Orange Cassidy picks up the victory. Post-match, Jay Lethal distracts the referee because he's going to hit him with that golden globe, which can Paul fucking go get that back? I feel like he would want that, but we'll get to that later. That distracts the referee. And then old man Jeff Jarrett with his artificial hips and knees comes strolling in there with his fucking guitar from when he was a baby in 1962 and hits old Orange Cassidy in the knee and then wobbles his ass out while the best friends, run him off. So what'd you think about Jeff Jarrett tangling with Orange Cassidy now?
Not happy about it. Look, Jeff Jarrett, again, if you're never watched wrestling and you were sitting down with Tim and Tom, we were like, check out this AEW. Jeff Jarrett's doing his job fine, right? Like he's a guy you don't like. He's beating on people that you do like. He says mean things. It's fine. But I think we all know the baggage that comes with Jeff Jarrett. We're all just done with it. So it just really is just, he's endeared to people in the back. I get that. I want to give him his credit, right? Like, people like Jeff Jarrett that work in the wrestling industry, right? So that's why he's still around. But man, I kind of wish he just wasn't on TV at this point. I'm not excited for this Orange Cassidy thing. Like, again, it won't be bad. It'll be annoying.
I think it'll be fine, because I think what they'll do, because they are smart individuals, is they're going to play on the old Southern wrestling type versus this new age, I don't give a shit, cooler than school Orange Cassidy. And that will be the fun of the match.
Yeah, where's your respect for the veteran kind of thing, right?
Right. The thing with me, and it's always been with me, is I don't give a shit about the moves. We talked about that a million times. My thing is the story. And with Jeff Jarrett, he's a lesser version of Chris Jericho, where Chris Jericho, especially starting out, could win championships and tell interesting stories. But honestly, right now, if we're all being brutally honest, Chris Jericho is now a mid-carder, which is good. It's fine. Not a slight on him. But we know that, like, to a lesser extent, all of his stories have been told, right? Like, there's nothing going to be new under the sun with Chris Jericho. However, he can pick up a big victory. Well, the Diet Coke version of that is Jeff Jarrett, where it's, man, I don't even think you're going to win this fucking match, let alone a title. And you've told every fucking story you possibly can with your old ass. So I'm not interested when you hobble in there and fucking strut because you forgot where you're at. And it's not interesting. Like, the story of Jeff Jarrett is not interesting to me. Now, if we peek behind the curtain, which we try not to do, but obviously with him, you kind of have to, because he does a podcast where he tells you, yeah, he's a carny. He's a carny piece of shit, right? Global Force Gold and fucking all the bullshit with TNA being the founder, getting kicked out, coming back in, Global Force bullshit. Cody's your champion. Then he's not. Then the promotion goes away. And now he's in AEW. GCW was in there for a hot second, like a fever dream. And what the fuck, right? And so that's where it's just not interesting to me, is because he's ran his course. You know, the only thing you're going to do with him is tell the same story you did in 2010 or something. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not interested in him.
Yeah. Now, and I don't think with this particular feud either, again, we're watching for the stories, but we do know behind the curtains, like you said, with Jeff Jarrett, it was just like, Jeff Jarrett's not winning this all Atlantic championship or whatever they called it at the moment. But whatever, it's fine. Is what it is. But I do want to talk about this. I know we were going to go through chronologically, but this kind of
jump
fits.
ahead.
Yeah, let's fit. So do you want to explain this Tony Khan announcement or I don't even know.
Well, let's talk about it. So Tony Khan, we go backstage. Tony Khan standing by himself without Renee Young, which I thought was an interesting choice. Just has the microphone and says essentially, hey, All Atlantic Championship has been defended fully for its last time. Orange Cassidy is your champion. Now this championship was defended internationally, and so we're going to level up this championship in conjunction with the movie Shazam. I thought that was Shaq. Side note. Wasn't Shaq Shazam? Wasn't he that?
Was it Shazam? It was Kazam.
Oh, Kazam. That's what it was. Yes, you're right. I thought it was Shazam. Whatever.
Yes.
So this is the white Shaq.
Yeah, but some people say they saw a Sinbad version called Shazam that he denies. That's like
didn't know that part.
Yeah,
I just thought it was because I thought it was a Shaq movie, but I found out it's not. So anyhow, in conjunction with this movie, they're going to level up the championship, and now we're calling it the AEW Intercontinental Championship, right? Or international, International Championship.
Yeah,
AEW International Championship. And here's my problem with that in 2023. Go back to when we created the Intercontinental Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I was a kid. My brain wasn't formed. I didn't fucking know the difference. But now I'm an adult. Can you explain to me what the difference between international and world is?
Yeah, no, that's what pisses me off about this. Is that those are the same fucking thing. Remember when I had a rant early on in this show's history about the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship? And I was like, I know how you got there because you had WCW International and you had WCW, but international and world is the same fucking thing. You already have an international championship in your world championship. All right, so the Intercontinental at least makes sense because it's within your continent. It's like saying it's the North American, right? Like, but yet it was in South America and Rio de Janeiro, sort of, where it began, right? So, like, I get the idea of, like, when the NWA was on, you might have a Kansas state champion, right? And then you have a United States champion, and then you have a North American champion. All Atlantic even, okay, right? Like, anything touching the Atlantic, right? So we're just excluding Samoans. Fuck them, right? Like, whatever. Fine. But, like, now you're just saying international? Like, international is the fucking world. It was already a stretch that we had this third tier title to begin with. But it's fine. I like the way they've been utilizing it and where it's going. I don't like this name at all. Just because, like what you said, if I'm like, this is the international champion, they'll be like, oh, so he's the big guy. I'll be like, no, that's the world champion. They'll be like, is there something in the world that isn't amongst the international nations? Like, I can't even come up with the right words to describe how weird this sounds because it's weird.
Well, and it's just lacks creativity. It's just lazy, right? Even if we're calling AEW a challenger brand, which Tony Khan has done in past interviews, be different then, right? You don't have at Burger King, which is the challenger brand to McDonald's, the Big King, right? They have the Whopper, and then McDonald's has the Big Mac. Like, those are two completely different fucking words. So you're just saying intercontinental, international, and that's fucking dumb. Like,
and like,
be creative and push it.
So Jeffrey Sills is in the chat here saying, like, they're prepping that belt to be defended abroad. Like, he's saying Pockets is going to lose the international championship to one of the international wrestlers, right? Takeshita, Bandito, Rush, and then they're going to defend it around the globe. And we get that. I want to make sure, like, we understand what their purpose here is. But the name international is the same as world, right? I don't know how you on paper distinguish to somebody how those two things are different, and why would then the international, so the world champion doesn't go around the globe defending the title, but the international champion does, but the international champion is 2 levels below the world champion. Like, there's a little hole in the logic there.
Well, yeah, and just to me, be creative. Name it something different, right? The AEW, Ring of Honor has the pure champion, right? They have a pure champion where the rule sets are even different, right? You can only do 3 rope breaks and things like that. You can apply, maybe not apples to apples, that to AEW, but you could do that, right? Because if I tell you in Ring of Honor, hey, this is the Ring of Honor pure champion. Well, what the hell does that mean? It means this. Cool. Well, then this is your Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. Well, what does that mean? It's the fucking man. Oh, okay, cool. I get the difference between the two. But this is just semantics. There's nothing different as far as presentation to a casual.
They could call it the Universal Champion.
No, they can't. That's fuck the WWE. We don't fucking copy those lazy shits.
Yeah, let's call it let's call it the planetary champion. Nah, I'm looking at the thesaurus right now. Let's call it the cosmic champion. Let's call it the Universal was on the thesaurus.com when I typed in international, so that's why. Yeah, I don't know what you would call it. And I get it. It's like Jeffrey Sills is saying. You're wanting this to be the around the globe champion, that you might take this to New Japan. You might take this. Why don't you call it the interpromotional title then?
Or just call it the AEW Combat. The AEW Combat Champion.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody's used that before. I like that.
And it's completely different, and you would have to explain what that means. And you could even make different rule sets, just like you do with the Pure. You could say, with the Combat Championship, there's never a disqualification. It doesn't matter about rope breaks or whatever, because this is combat. This is a liking to Bloodsport, right? The Josh Barnett and Matt Riddle's Bloodsport. We're taking a page from them, and we're calling this the AEW Combat Champion.
No pinfalls
Anyone can do it.
No pinfalls will count until you've done at least 5 flips.
Easy, not that easy. Come on, but yeah, do something that I would challenge them to that.
I like that idea. I don't think that's the angle they would do for this title, but that's a great idea that nobody's ever used. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it was fine staying the All Atlantic. I don't know what was wrong with that. That was fine. That sounded normal. Wasn't super creative, but it sounded normal.
Whatever. All right, so let's go backstage. Renee Young interviews Powerhouse Hobbs, and he says, I saw what happened to Wardlow. Sucks to be him. Everything got taken away from him, and guess what? Tonight, his title's getting taken away too. So, if you don't know, earlier in the day on Wardlow's social media, I believe it was just Twitter, but it could have been Instagram and Facebook, I don't know. But he informed us that his rental car was broke into and everything was taken. That includes his wrestling boots, his wrestling gear. He said his life, which would indicate maybe personal items that are not associated with wrestling.
Oh, I'm sure.
But then also the TNT Championship.
Yeah.
So not the best day for good old Wardlow to make it to work on time.
No, that sucks for these folks when that happens, because I'm sure of it. Listen, if they're spending 200 plus days a year on the road, as we know wrestlers do, they may have a home. But if they're single guys without wife and kids, which I mean, we don't know. I don't think we've been expressly told, but I don't know that that's the case with Wardlow, right? I think he's a single guy without wife and kids, but I don't know. But I'm sure you carry some sentimental items around with you that are now presumably lost forever, and that sucks. Title belt, sure, maybe you have to pay a deposit or something. That sucks, right? I don't know how Tony Khan does that, or, that kind of thing. But and maybe some rental insurance covers you. I don't know, but that still sucks. You're out, like you said, you're out your gear, you're out your clothes. You know what I mean? You might have even had a fucking passport in there or some shit. Who knows, right? That really sucks. So I like that they showed that, and that was kind of a theme with Wardlow even throughout the night with his, his demeanor. And I kind of wonder, I don't want to spoil too much about later what happens in the show, but maybe that's where we're going with the Wardlow character. Maybe a little bit of that, oh, woe is me, life sucks right now.
Possibly.
Wardlow?
Possibly. Fun fact, this isn't the first time that an AEW championship has gone missing. Now, the first time it happened was Chris Jericho losing the heavyweight championship. He was able to find it a few days later. But yeah, AEW championships, hot black market item apparently amongst thieves. So credit to whoever
following them
fucking broke into Wardlow's bullshit. So yeah. All right, then we go back into the ring. Ricky Stark's music plays. He comes down in the ring. And paraphrasing here, he essentially says, man, JS, they're bunk. I'm done with them. Beat them. Tired of them. Then he says, what's next? People are asking me what's next. Well, I got a better question. Where will I go next? And some people were like, oh, fuck, are we doing an MJF 2024 thing where it's like, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen because of what happened immediately following that statement. So the Bullet Club music hits, which some people got excited for. I was just like, okay, who could that be? Because I don't know anyone in the Bullet Club anymore, right?
I didn't even know the music.
And
it took the commentator
the
Bullet Club. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the logo. When I saw the logo, I was like, oh, that's the Bullet Club. But from behind, as Ricky Starks is waiting to see whoever comes from the entrance ramp down, Juice Robinson attacks him from behind. What? He's wearing some Dick Hard Club or whatever the fuck, reach around and jerk it club. I don't know what the fuck all these nerds are saying now. But he's fucking Juice Rock Hard, Dick Hard Robinson or whatever. And so here we go. Now, that looks to be the immediate feud. I believe, though, Ricky Starks, on behalf of AEW, might be making some dates in New Japan. And that's where that sentence of where will I go is alluding to, is we are going to see a reverse Forbidden Door for AEW fans and see New Japan, Dominion, I don't know what their fucking things are called. Ricky Starks taking on Hirosho Godo. Is that someone? I don't know.
Maybe.
One of those.
I guess that's fine. If we don't have something for Ricky Starks, then it's better to do that than to have him spin his wheels and wrestle the JAS for the 17th time, so I won't hate that. And look, if we get Juice Robinson and Ricky Starks, that'll be a fine match. I don't know that we're going to get a great story out of that, right? I don't think we'll get, they'll come beat him up a couple times and he'll defend himself and presumably get the better of CJ Parker or whatever the fuck, Juice Robinson. I like that CJ Parker gimmick, man. He just wanted to save the world and we all shit on him. I don't really. That's all I can think of now.
And just do it with Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it with Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
My sensei is Bryan Danielson. I am now reformed back to name it something different, but I am essentially CJ Parker. We are on a crusade to save the world, but we're fucking baby faces. Huh?
Yeah. Like, why did we boo
Let's
that?
cheer the fucking good thing. Yeah. Let's cheer the fucking good thing of saving the earth, you cocksuckers. Yeah. Vince, you piece of shit. You fucking devil.
Jeffrey Sill says, I would love to see Ricky in the G1.
Sure. Against the G1, or is that a tournament? Whatever it is.
I'm going to be real honest here. I've never seen a single match ever in any G1 climax. And I don't feel like I'm missing out.
The only New Japan stuff I've ever watched in my life was way early into this podcast history. I thought we were going to be a voice of every fucking thing that ever happened in pro wrestling ever.
We aren't?
No. And so I thought I had to get familiar with New Japan. So
young T-Mac with dreams.
Yeah. And so I ordered Wrestle Kingdom 9. Remember Wrestle Kingdom 9?
I remember.
And if you recall, my nipples were hard for Nakamura. Remember that?
Yes.
I was the fucking
You also
Nakamura
loved you some
fan.
Machine Gun.
Yeah, that was fun. And then he's a fucking nerd.
Yeah, he's a big nerd. Yeah.
Side quest. The fucking OC or whatever, just two fucking mechanics sound like lug nuts talking in a fucking blender. These idiots. Oh my God, what a biggest waste of space these two bald fucks are, huh?
These guys remind me of if you went to a biker bar in the outskirts of town, your uncle was hanging out there and his friends, and they're saying kind of jokes that they think are funny, but they're really not. They didn't have like any kind of wit or timing, but they might have been maybe slightly racist. You know what I mean? Like that's the feel I get from these guys. Not that these guys are slightly racist, of course, although he does mention his Asian wife a lot. So maybe it all fits. Maybe I'm right on. With my analogy.
I tell you what, to me, and we'll get back on track here in just a second. For me, they are Al Bundy. They are the kings of I scored 5 touchdowns in a high school football game. Who the fuck cares?
Remember, we were the Bullet Club. Be like, yeah, fucking 20 years ago.
Oh,
whatever the fuck this was.
Yeah. All right, so we get a commercial break. We come back, and then Wardlow is backstage being interviewed, and he says, I'm fucking mad. And you know what? I'm so goddamn mad. We're changing this matchup. It's not a traditional match. We're making it a falls count anywhere because I got aggression that I'm letting out on Powerhouse's face. Yeah. So I'm wearing knuckle sandwich, right?
And I'm wearing loaned underwear, so I'm just pissed off.
Yeah, he was wearing a lone FTR shirt, which he was like,
I got a shirt from FTR. I got my underwear from Saraya. Like, today sucks. I'm ready to fight.
Yeah, ready to fight. Right. Then we get back into the ring, and Renee Young is interviewing the newly heel Ruby Soho. So let's talk about, before we get to this interview, what happened at Revolution. So at AEW Revolution that took place this past Sunday night, we had a triple threat match for the AEW Women's Championship. Champion Jamie Hayter taking on Ruby Soho, taking on Saraya. And Jamie Hayter gets the pinfall on Ruby Soho. Toni Storm comes in, starts taking the boots to Jamie Hayter along with Saraya. And then Ruby Soho fucking joins the dark side.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
All right. I liked the story they were telling us leading up to this match. I even like where we're at with Ruby Soho being in this group now, I don't like what happened in the middle, which was this match. I liked the match, but I don't like the aftermath math of it, right? Where you mentioned that there's that stare down. Ruby Soho finally goes, I'm with them. Well, then why did you beat the fuck up on the other one that was in the match with you for 30 fucking minutes? Now, if you were to tell me I had a moment of realization after the match, so I picked a side, maybe, but that's kind of not what she told us on Dynamite, right? It kind of felt like, no, we're just this thing now. We're the painting people losers thing. Look, if the initial idea was this, like we thought, it was going to be this NWO thing, and maybe Tony Khan took a left turn to kind of get there, fine. I didn't like the way they set it up, but I can look past that. I do like Ruby Soho better in this, right? Shitting on the crowd, calling the people mouth breathers, you know what I mean? And these ladies running around calling everybody losers and spray painting them. This is better, I think, than a lot of things we've gotten in the women's division as far as like a group or a story, if you will, right? I don't think we felt kind of like there's been no guiding purpose for a lot of these ladies, and I think this can give something, right? I kind of like where we're at here. This is way better than anything Ruby Soho has produced to date, so I'm excited for this.
So I actually thought she explained it pretty well. Now, I will go with you in the moment at Revolution. Let's be honest, the aftermath was more important than the match, which is fine because, again, I care more about stories than a 5-star classic. I don't need 5-star classics. Tell me interesting stories, and you can give me Stone Cold matches that are all fucking punches and kicks, right? Like, I don't need after
you
his
can wear
knee
injury, braces. Right? I don't even. Yeah.
I don't give a shit, right? I don't care about any of that stuff. I want stories, right? So in the moment at Revolution, when she sides with Toni Storm and Saraya, you kind of go like, well, why didn't you fucking side with them during the match? And then Saraya could have been champ, and then you guys would be fucking running the roster, right? Now, maybe I'm pulling from some straws here, so stop me if I am. I took her promo as, hey, I came here to AEW, and in my first match with Britt Baker, you booed me. Then I beat Chris Statlander in a Owen Hart tournament.
Yeah.
I beat her, and you booed me. And then I do this match, and Jamie Hayter wins, and you guys go crazy, so fuck you.
Yeah.
Now that makes sense if you're saying I lost, and when I lost, I heard no one cares for me. Well, then, okay, I get how you're going to side with the bad people. In the moment on Revolution, we didn't get that story. We did get that, I thought, a little bit tonight. Yeah,
and I agree with that. I think, and Jeffrey Sills even says, I thought the same thing, but this promo told me she made the swerve on the fly. Ruby as a heel might be good because this promo was good. Reminder, I could be telling people what you think if you were to join us live on the YouTube chat, just like Jeffrey Sills did here, but that's another story. That's for the listeners. Tom,
and here's a credit to Ruby Soho. It was a good promo, and as I said to, I can't remember who I said it on on Twitter, which I apologize. I'll fact check it later. But it was a good promo, and I still fucking hate her, which is good, right? Because sometimes when people do the switch, it's like, oh, I do understand. And now we're like, well, fuck, you're supposed to boo me. And now it's Becky Lynch, and now we're cheering. What the fuck do we do now, right? But with her, it was like, I didn't like you as a babyface. You're kind of fucking weird and phony, and all your promos suck. And then this one's good, but I still think you're phony and you suck, and your wrestling's rigid.
But it
boring.
At least fits this new, submission sorority gimmick they got going on here. She fits that mold, right? They're going around spray painting people being punks, if you will. It fits. So it looks the part. Her promo was good. I don't recall getting this in a while out of Ruby Soho, but I think her look fits this kind of character better than anything we've gotten since she's been in AEW, so I'm excited.
Yeah, look, Ruby Soho sucks, right? Her song's the best thing about her. There's nothing good about, and again, her as a person, I feel like I always need to clarify this because I go with these top shelf comments, and I feel like sometimes I'm misunderstood. Yeah. The people that are playing these characters, because remember, this is all fucking not real, right? That's what I'm talking about. I don't know who the real Ruby Soho is. It gets hard when I say later that John Cena fucking sucks and that's his actual name. That's when it gets hard because like I'm differentiating the person and then the fucking character who's fucking trash and has always been trash. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, Ruby Soho has always fucking sucked. Her song was the coolest thing about her in AEW. So now I get to boo her and it's on purpose. So good. Fuck her. She sucks. But she comes here and she beats up on old Sky Blue, little old Bluty Bud over here, and beats her up. And then this is where it pissed me off, Tim.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers. Look, there's a lot you can do to my fandom that makes me just stay tepid, right?
Yeah.
Right there. Hey, that was good or bad. It was fine.
Yeah, you're known for being an even keel guy, not being too angry.
Always.
Yeah, right.
But when you beat up in a post-match segment, the light in this dark heart, who is Willow Nightingale, you bitches better watch your fucking I got sisters.
Yeah.
When you come to Independence on March 22nd, that you touch her again, touch Willow Nightingale again, I swear my sisters will show up. I used to do this when I was a kid. Girls break my heart. Guess what? Sister beats your ass. So you fuckers don't want to mess with Willow Nightingale.
Oh, Doyle rules.
The glimmer of hope I have. Yeah. He's the glimmer of hope I have in this world, and you don't fucking touch her, okay?
Yeah, listen, I could sense you getting angrier by the moment this Willow thing was happening. I was like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But that's
Willow.
great. That's why this works so well too, right? Because there is nobody we have not heard the die Rocky die for a Willow yet, right? Even though she's like this crowd favorite bubbly thing. Like usually there's some tinge of that for folks of that nature, but I don't think I've heard anybody be like, this Willow thing sucks, right? Like nobody said that. Everybody loves Willow.
Yeah, the people that do are cunts. Like, so there you go. Say that around me. But
you are coming in strong tonight.
Say that around me.
Yeah, Jeffrey Sills mentioned you came in strong with that Ruby Soho sucks, and now you came in with it. Those people are cunts, man. Tom's bringing the fire tonight.
I ain't lying. Call Willow Nightingale anything but a glimmer of hope in this dark world.
Yeah,
and I'll
best
fucking
Willow
put
in
5
wrestling
across your lip. The best Willow ever in wrestling.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jeff Hardy. So I'm mad. About that.
Mad. So boo Ruby Soho. Keep booing her. Boo.
So we go after that backstage, and man alive, I tell you what, Tim, these fucking interviews hit on a 12 out of 10 scale, and it started with this one. We go backstage, and Renee is interviewing Hangman Adam Page. And I don't know. So I'm going to say this in the moment, and I might have to backtrack when we get to Bryan Danielson. But consistently, I'll say, I guess, I don't know if anyone gives the heartfelt promo, the endearing, hey, I'm a flawed human, but good at heart promo better than Hangman Adam Page. And he defined it here where he said, I had to go to hell to take Jon Moxley out. I didn't like doing it, but it was a necessity. And then he goes, Renee, I'm sorry that you had to see that because that's your husband and that sucks.
Oh, the subtlety of that was even better. It was, so he's doing kind of what you said, where like he's a guy that he doesn't want to be he just wants to wrestle. He wants to make money. He wants to live his family life, but people keep messing with him. And his message to you is fucking do it again. And you'll see that I will hang you and kill you. I'm not fucking playing around. And then Renee says something, right? And he's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I've been giving you a lot of shit in these promos because of the situation, and I feel like I owe you an apology. I'm sorry that you had to see what I fucking did to your husband. Right? Like, and just kind of breezed right by this, like, kind of non-apology that he gives her, right? That she's even kind of like, I don't feel like that was an actual apology, right? Just great, man.
But it kind of was.
Yeah, but it kind of was. Yeah, that's where she even kind of took it that way. It was kind of like, I mean, okay, yeah, well, I mean, thanks for apologizing for that, but that's not all you should apologize to me for. It just, yeah, the subtleties that we've gotten with the Hangman character at almost every story he's told is why he's one of my top 5. He's so fucking good at that. Like you said, the flawed baby face, right? That means well, but does a little too well sometimes.
And also, one thing that also makes him really, really good, unlike some other baby faces who are trying really hard, is he'll fucking win like he did on Sunday night. So let's talk about that. At Revolution was the Texas Death Match. And to me, look, there was some fucking nerd that went viral because he pees his pants when people start raising their voices. I can't remember his name, but he's like, this isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Who is he? Who is he?
He's one of the fucking, my sources inside tell me, and you're like, who the fuck are your sources? Shut up.
Okay. Well, his sources are that he's fucking soft as baby shit and needs to fucking grow up. This match ruled. It fucking ruled. It fucking ECW in 2023 hit. Or as the kids say, it slapped. I don't know if kids say that anymore.
Listen, so like in response even to Raj, I even told you after it was over, I said, I'm typically not even into these matches, right? Like I saw ECW back in the day. I like a good hardcore match here and there. But I've even said recently before, we came up close to Revolution here, like, hey, aren't we bleeding a little too much with Moxley? Like, do we got to do this every time? Because to me, it's just kind of like,
love it.
All right, guys, it feels like a prop, right? And I'm kind of like, I don't need it, right? I don't need it every time, right? Use it when it's warranted. But this fucking match was a masterpiece. It was fucking intense. It was, the story back and forth was great. And that's why I told you, I said, this isn't even normally like my thing, but that was an early match of the year candidate for me. And so like to Raj, like you just came here to shit on this because you ought to have seen past at this point. Like this is a Texas death match is where you get the blood, is where you get the forks, is where you get the whatever. I can hear you if you have a little criticism of them doing it 7 straight weeks on Dynamite. I might be like, all right, you might have a valid point there. But to shit on this was just like, you're not really watching this. This was a fucking masterpiece. This was great shit. I don't know who Brian J is, but he says he's a nobody T-Mac. I don't know who that is. Welcome, Brian J.
Oh, I know Brian J. We talked to him on Twitter. But who is it? We're a little bit ahead of you. Well, who?
Oh, yeah. Who's a nobody? Anyway, all right.
I don't know who nobody is, but tell me and we'll catch up. We're a little bit ahead of you. So when we see the comments, we're already past it. So
is that Brian J. Bay? I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So what I was going to say is, so I do like these matches to a certain degree. I've said in the past, GCW is a fucking savior to my wrestling fandom. However, when they go with the ultra violent championship and we're just fucking taking light tubes to the stomach because I guess it's a drop toe hold. Okay, I don't need that. But with this was the payoff, right? We had physicality to its max degree in a normal match. So the only way we could settle it was a Texas death match. So it was perfect for the story.
Yeah, we've called this a blood feud. Like we were going to get blood, right? Like, come on.
Yeah. And so the thing I want to say, though, that was fucking awesome is, if you've only watched AEW, and some people only have, right? They don't know Hangman from Ring of Honor or from anything else, BTE. They don't know any of that shit, right? But you got to see Hangman Adam Page earn the nickname of Hangman by literally hanging a man. How fucking cool is that?
Yeah.
I think
that
awesome.
is how he earned that nickname, but this is when we finally got it on AEW. And yes, Brian J. Bay, a great friend of the show, was saying, he was talking about the Raj Giri, the crybaby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my pearls. People are yelling.
Oh, he said this is low brow to me. And I was like, what a way to tell everybody that you think you're better than them. Like, what a dork. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you fucking adult diaper wearing bitch ass hoe. Like, you fucking suck. Ooh, I don't like it when the wrestling is the wrestling. What is going to happen? This is low brow. I need Mozart in the background, and I need them to be wearing their big puffy wigs and having collar elbow tie-ups. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Maybe you're a great guy, but you sucked in that moment.
Didn't WWE have fucking the Street Profits taken on like Alpha Academy, and somebody got like sucked into a damn garbage monster into like a dumpster or something like that one time? That wasn't lowbrow for you, but the blood. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Oh, the zombies that got the Miz in the fucking Walking Dead promo. But this, I'll
take lowbrow over corporate cheese every fucking day. How about that? But back to this, Brian J. in the chat. Love that. Everybody else should join the chat. YouTube live when we're doing the shows Thursday, typically, sometimes on Wednesday nights. Or you can use hashtag tweet the table throughout the week. We didn't get any this week, so shame on all of you. Shout out Dak Draper. He says the hanging was brutal. And man, I loved it. I love that that's how they ended it. And I love that he's got to like, all right, this is it. I got to tap here, right? Pause. We kind of had the two biggest matches ended that way with them realizing they needed to tap. But I mean, both matches fit that. And this is, I mean, you're hanging, right? Well, you're going to die, right? You're going to choke out and die. So it's tap or snap, or it's tap or death here in this case for Moxley, So I like it.
Well, with that criticism, the only thing I would say in that regard is like, we don't say, hey, both high profile matches ended in pin, right? So like submission is part of it. So
exactly. Submission is one of the like three ways you're typically going to win a match. So I'm fine with that too, right? You're going to have, and again, it fit. He's hanging the man. The man realizes he doesn't have a way to get out of it, and he's going to pass out. And sometimes you don't wake up from that. So you better tap out so the ref can stop it.
Definitely. All right, so let's get back to Dynamite. After Hangman says that he is, quote, finished with Jon Moxley, and we'll put a pin in that for right now. We go to a commercial break. We come back. Tony Schiavone introduces FTR, and I want to tell you something. If you want to hear a tag team that is over in 2023, just let FTR walk to the ring, and everyone's going to lose their fucking mind, because that's what happened here. They didn't really say much of anything. There was no, like, groundbreaking statement, but FTR is fucking back, dog. What do you think?
From a storyline in the overall AEW universe, if you will, I'm a little worried that they're back too early. And already feuding with the champs. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I get it, but like, we didn't really let anybody else really have, I mean, the Acclaim had a run, but now they're just gonna they lose it to the Ass Boys so they can lose it right back to FTR, and then I thought we might feature some more tag teams up and coming. Maybe we'll get there with FTR.
We're gonna get I like it in this regard. I think the AEW nerd, which I can definitely claim from time to time, but not to this degree. But I think the AEW nerd is saying to themselves, "Hey, you assholes. The tag team division is defined by two teams. And let's not kid ourselves. It's defined by FTR and it's defined by the Young Bucks. And in the history of AEW, it's 1-1 in pay-per-views, right? Or excuse me, in their matches. They've only faced off twice, I believe. Now, again, we don't fact check, but that's what I think it is. 1-1. So we needed the third match. Who's the fucking King of the Hill? Who's the one walking around taking away everyone's lunch money because they're the bully on the schoolyard, right? So ass boys, get the fuck out. Yeah, you know what I mean? You fucking pansies. No one wants to see you. So
until you become the ass boys, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and they wouldn't any longer of a run. I think we would check out on the tag team division, right? We would just
of course. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So FTR winning back the championships and then maybe doing something with a team in the interim is fine. But I think at their WrestleMania, which I don't think is still yet to be defined, I feel it's all out. Some people say it's Double or Nothing. Some people say it's Revolution, whatever. But I think at what they define as their premium event of the year, whatever that will be, I think that's where we're going to get FTR, Young Bucks,
I mean,
all the marbles.
All Out gets the full week of stuff. Does Double or Nothing as well? I don't know. Does it get like the full week?
I think so.
Yeah, so maybe.
I think so, yeah.
And listen, look, WWE set that up. You don't have to operate in a way that like you have a biggest event of the year either.
No,
I guess,
of course.
So, right.
And sports operates that way too, right?
True. Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's generally like a start and stop to the year. Yes, fine. I'm also great. FTR's back, but I'm not. If you tell me like we're gonna run FTR and Young Bucks back, I'm like, okay, yeah, fine.
No, I love it. I love it because they'll invest the details that tells a good story. By the way, Tim, sports do have a start and stop to them. One of those sports that we both like is football.
Yeah,
and oddly enough, the only football, fucking
the real football.
Shut up. The real football, you pansies. You guys are soft.
2 L's. God damn it.
Exactly. So football has a start and it has a stop, and it stops with whoever wins the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
And God bless America, I almost forgot the hat I was wearing. It says here, Super Bowl 57 champions. Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Yeah.
How about that?
I was thinking about that the other day.
4 years.
It made me smile. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Look, side quest real quick. I'm going through fucking hell the last 3 weeks with this tumor. Like, legitimately, I'm taking more opioids than I probably should, side note, but I'm fucking going through it. Like, fucking going through it, Tim. And 2 things make me really fucking happy. AEW and anything Chiefs Super Bowl related that doesn't deal with Super Bowl 55, because that never actually happened. I will watch The Rock at Super Bowl 54 introduce the Kansas City Chiefs. I will watch the second half of Super Bowl 57 where Patrick Mahomes had 1 incompletion the whole entire second
on a purposeful throwaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't even have anything in my body. It's like, hey, everything's great. Everything's cool. And
as good as the heroin that you've been taking.
I tell you what, shoot it in my veins. Super Bowl champions, baby. Fucking love it. By the way, if you haven't been on their YouTube channel, which if you're on YouTube right now, keep watching us. And then when you're done, go to the Kansas City Chiefs YouTube channel. And they did a mini movie about the 2022 season, which is very good. Now let's get back to AEW Dynamite. We go backstage, and this is where I said it again on our Twitter page at Table Show. I really think Renee Young is the absolute best. And I know Mean Gene is the standard in which every interviewer is judged by, and rightfully so. Not saying anyone should take that top spot. But
she's good.
Renee Young is fucking great. And she earns that distinction in this interview with Jade Cargill backstage. It's a throwaway segment. Essentially, Jade Cargill just says, next week, give me someone who's good. I'm out of here. But what Jade Cargill really says is, we're going to Canada, right? Renee says, yeah. You're a Canadian, aren't you? Yeah. Well, get one of your bitches to fight me next week. And Renee's like, all right, thanks for the interview. Like, Jade storms off and she's like, okay, well, like, it was a perfect, if you don't know who Jade Cargill is, you know she's a bitch after this segment. It was perfect from everyone.
It was good. And Renee Paquette is great at this in the same way that Mean Gene was, where they seem, you're looking at the chat, where they seem confident to hold their own in an interview. Right? Like, they're not like scared of this person. They're not nervous to be speaking on the camera. They're actively trying to interview and get like a quote or a thing, right? Like, this is how actual, journalists work, right? When they're interviewing in the field, and sports journalists and stuff like this. Like, I'm reminded of Aaron Andrews, right? Like, they'll have a poise that they feel like an important person there. Best backstage pro wrestling interview in the business, but with a bullet, is Renee Paquette right now. And yeah, this segment is aided by that, right? Like it's not just Jade Cargill shitting on just a random person. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of throwing her in there as well. And yeah, I loved all of this. I like Jade Cargill. I'm ready for that next thing though with Jade Cargill, right? Like we've got to do something to get her. We're just spinning wheels at this point.
And I don't know who's Canadian in the women's division or women's free agents, but I'm hoping that next week it is the stop in your tracks. Holy shit. It's Jade Cargill versus fill in the blank. And I don't know who that is. The only person I could think of that would make me go, oh, for real? We doing this shit? Would honestly be Britt Baker. Like that would make me go, oh, so Jade Cargill is going to the big times in AEW. Cool to see. Anyone else, I'm kind of like, okay. And I do mean Mercedes Moné. I know she's a fucking free agent, but she ain't Canadian. But I'm just saying, if she debuted and faced Jade Cargill, I wouldn't care because that character sucks. And side note, I know I say all this about characters, but a shoot, I kind of think that person sucks too. From all accounts on their social media and comments, I think they're a shitty person. But that's not what I'm judging them on. I'm only judging them on the television screen that I see. So we'll see. We'll see who Jade Cargill takes on next week in a big show emanating from the great country of Canada.
I just tried to do some fact checking, and I don't even know that they say the bunny is from Canada up there, but I don't know who would be active on the current roster, and I don't know who in like women's wrestling.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Yeah.
Come in. Yeah. I don't know.
The only one that I know of is Trish Stratus, and we know she's over there in WWE doing her thing, whatever that shit is, right? It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. It's fine for them, right? You know?
Yeah, it's fine.
I almost said something really offensive, but I won't. All right, then we get into the ring, and we get AR Fox and Top Flight taking on Jericho Appreciation Society in a trios match. JS is made up of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and who was the third person? It was
it Garcia?
Oh, Daniel Garcia. That's who it is. Yep, that's who it was. Fun match. I think it's interesting to see when two legends thrown around a lot. So I don't mean to flippantly say it, but when you have AR Fox, who has a legendary style that has influenced many, and then Chris Jericho, who's a legit legend, when you have them interacting, it's kind of noteworthy. Like, oh, wow, I never thought these two would wrestle. So it was fun for that, right?
I just really thought, and we see more later after the match why he's there, but I just thought this is a great reason Jericho doesn't need to be here this week, right? It could have been 2.0 and Garcia versus these guys, right? It could have been some other trios grouping, but
we get them.
Yeah.
And so JS wins because Jake Hager's a piece of shit still, and he's out there with the fucking hat from 94 thinking it's cool. It's not, and your phrase is played out just like your wrestling style. Please retire. You're a waste of space. But what they say is we are now the number one contenders. And I will say this about the JS in this regard. They are a forgettable, I don't care to tune in faction. Right? Fuck them. After their stuff with Eddie Kingston, Blackpool Combat Club, I literally wish they would disband yesterday. However, it is cool, and I thought it was an interesting dynamic where Jericho, being the legend that he is, and he is, even though currently, he's Michael Vick with the Jets, if that makes sense. If you're a football fan, he's Michael Vick with the Jets. That's where he's at in his career. But he says, hey, House of Black, turn the lights off, have the best entrance in wrestling, but get your ass out here. We're going to beat you up. And I thought that's cool because for House of Black, they've always been positioned as the spooky, ooh, what are they going to... And for Jericho to almost undercut them and say, like, no, just come out here. We know what's going to happen. Ooh, music and pyro or whatever. Like, just come out here. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And look, it's fine, right? They're staking claim to being number one contenders. I like that we got a little bit of that swerve, though, where we're expecting House of Black to come out and we get, Sweet Sounds of Kansas.
We get the Elite.
Hit the speakers, right?
Yeah, so the Elite come out, and this is what I found the most interesting. So we'll fast forward to the end. What's going to happen next week is a triple threat trios match between the Elite, JAS, and House of Black. Cool. The most interesting thing for me was as Kenny Omega is starting to talk his shit and start to be that guy, Don Callis runs from the back, just takes the microphone away from him and is like, hey, let me take this. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think's happening with Don Callis, the Elite, and Kenny?
Yeah, I don't know, but it does feel like that's purposeful, right? Because Kenny Omega was like, what the fuck, dude? And then, all is forgotten when he tells Jericho, like, you're one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but you're the second best wrestler from Winnipeg, right? Like, and then he's like, oh yeah, he's talking good about me again. And then they kind of forget it, but we'll see if more of that materializes. Man, as long as I'm getting more Don Callis, I'm okay with it, but it worries me that long term we'll get less Don Callis from something like this. So but current we'll get more.
I think we may be running back a different angle and maybe reverse, where it feels to me that if you recall at the Trios Championship match when House of Black defeated the Elite, it was not Kenny Omega who took the pinfall. And then on social media, Don Callis said in a picture with just him and Kenny Omega, we're refocused, ready to take over the world. I'm paraphrasing again, right? And so my thought was, Don Callis says in his mind, all right, the Elite's fucking up my guy, Kenny Omega, right? He's the god of pro wrestling. He's up here with, two kind of good guys, but he's better than this. And so I think maybe he's going to do the whole wedge in between the Elite and Kenny Omega, where in the original storyline, the Elite the Young Bucks then got in line and were like, all right, we're with Kenny. This might be Kenny goes, no, we're done with you, and jumps ship and just goes with Don Callis somewhere else. That was my initial thought. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe. I do like that the House of Black show up on the screen here and they do a little spooky shit, right? They're talking, then the next thing lights go out. Now they're standing in between them, right? They're kind of facing each other. And then it was like, all right, you want to do this? You want to do this? And then lights go out and they're gone again, right? If that's a little bit more of what we're playing into, hey, one moment they're over here, the next minute they're over here. One of them's over here hiding under the box or something. Like, I'm fine with that. I said, I need a little more spookiness. I think they're giving us a little bit more. So I like how this is playing out. This will be a fun match.
Who was that? Did you ever play Mortal Kombat? I know we're talking video games, but did you ever play Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Who was that fucking one guy that would like disappear and go underneath and uppercut you in the fucking thing, come down?
I don't remember the names, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like if House of Black does that thing where it's like, I'm down here, I'm up here, I'm over here. Like,
I'm on the screen. Next thing you know, you're getting a KCCP from Buddy Matthews, or his fucking name is.
Right.
Buddy Murphy Matthews. Fucking
Matthews. It's Matthews. Yeah. Buddy Matthews. Murphy was over in WWE. Yeah.
Buddy.
Remember, Buddy Murphy was dating a minor in WWE in Rey Mysterio's daughter. Way to go, WWE. You keep your standards high, you fucking soulless prick.
Yeah.
Then we go to a commercial break and we get some in-ring action. And I tell you what, we made it official here. It's John Silver and Alex Reynolds versus the heels, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. So it's your standard BCC match, right? We're doing our thing. We're getting our shit in. Moxley and Claudio win. And then this is when we put our foot in the dirt and we said, no, we're heels. They start holding on to chokeholds. I believe Jon Moxley won with an anaconda choke, which is fucking awesome because it does suck. Like, go wrestle that move and you'll be unconscious in about 20 seconds. So maybe don't try that one at home. But I like that he's doing that. However,
have a safe
Yuta
word.
Comes down. Yeah, it's orange. What? No.
What?
Yuta comes down. He's beating up the Dark Order. They're all beating up the Dark Order. Evil Uno comes down. They're beating his ass. And then Hangman, who reluctantly runs down and is like, hey, the fuck? I'm just going to check on my friend. Claudio, though, gets into his space a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do?
Yeah.
And Hangman just like, get out of here. Punches him. Gives him one right in the kisser. Gives him a how's your father. And then the BCC with Jon Moxley jump Hangman. So what are we doing here, Tim?
I felt like this was a little clunky. It felt like a couple guys kind of forgot where they were supposed to be a couple times here and there if you play it back. But yeah, we got to where you said. I'm just a little confused because, man, I guess I should have seen it coming with the whole "Are you guys done now?" interview, and he says, "Well, I'm done." But man, I felt like we had a good stopping point with the Moxley Hangman thing, and I'm worried if we try to take it any further, immediately it's going to lose some luster, right? I understand these two may never get along in canon on our screen and may always kind of revisit this feud, but man, I feel like it needed a break after the masterpiece we got. And I mean, I know this is a little different, but I thought we were just going to stick it there with the Evil Uno, and then we were going to get this 3-on-3 for a little while until Hangman has to come in and maybe save the day on somebody or something. But so I'm cautious, right? I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about where this goes.
I agree. I'm hoping, again, if I have the pin here, as people on YouTube will see most times, if I have the pin, what I'm doing is I'm pivoting Jon Moxley to Evil Uno. I'm elevating Evil Uno to a status that makes him credible in AEW. Not a top guy, not a heavyweight champion, none of that shit, but someone that can push Jon Moxley to the limit. Moxley, though, eventually wins the feud, right? Because he's Jon fucking Moxley. My hope is you pivot Moxley to Uno and you do Hangman, if you'd have to do Blackpool Combat Club, with Claudio. And you get, oh, you're the Swiss fucking greatest wrestler. I beat the last greatest wrestler, Bryan Danielson. You ain't no fucking different. I beat everyone in Blackpool Combat Club. Your ass is next.
Like, you speak 6 languages? I speak 7 after a long night of drinking. What do I give a shit?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it's a pivot to Claudio because, spoiler, Thursday nights is Ring of Honor television. And if you hop over to Ring of Honor television, Claudio is currently in a little bit of a feud with Eddie Kingston. My hope, again, I have the pin here. I'm making Eddie Kingston my ROH heavyweight champion. Claudio is freed up from Ring of Honor. And then that's when him and Hangman can get on the bad foot and do the punchy face.
Maybe even Hangman is instrumental in Claudio losing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, grabs a foot or something in Ring of Honor at the pay-per-view on the 31st.
Yeah, because you could always use that later too, because Eddie Kingston can be like, I didn't fucking ask you for that help, bitch. You know what I mean? Eddie Kingston and Hangman. You'd explode.
I don't know if I could handle it. I think I would melt. Yeah. I think I would melt into the couch in a smile of just orgasmic pleasure of the greatest things in the world combining into one. Like that, I would just, this would be the last noise you would hear from me when Eddie Kingston and Eddie Kingston and Hangman Adam Page were to fight.
You'd be hitting that safe word. You'd be orange.
Orange. I couldn't get it out. I would melt because I couldn't stand the sun ray of awesomeness that would come off of Eddie Kingston and Hangman. Couldn't handle it. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it.
I'm naming this episode Orange.
All right, so we get from a commercial break and we go backstage with the Acclaimed. Hey, they're fun. And they're talking their shit and they're saying, hey, guess what? We still want them tag titles. Neat. And then we get maybe the best pivot of the night post AEW Revolution. Obviously, the Acclaimed do not win the tag team championships as the Ass Boys are still your champions. And so as mentioned, they say, we're going to get those titles back. But then 2.0. And again, we haven't given him a fucking name, so I'm just going to keep calling him 2.0. 2.0 walks up and goes, hey, guess what? Everyone loves the Acclaim. We love the Acclaim. It's so fucking cool. You guys are sports entertainers. Now, again, Renee Paquette, I called her young earlier. I apologize about that. But Renee Paquette, again, earns her money here, where she's holding the microphone in between the two teams. And when 2.0 says, you guys are sports entertainers, Paquette goes, kind of.
Yeah,
kind of. Right. No, not lying.
Make a point.
Yeah. And so they say, why don't you join the JAS? And in the perfect response for who the Acclaimed are, they just belly laugh and walk away, with Max Caster maybe having the singular line of the night by saying, we're on TV more than you, and then just walks away.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, because that's good fodder too for like those guys that now come after the Acclaim. Be like, you think you fucking insulted us? And I think you get a good feud out of here, and the microphone battles and stuff between these guys will just be
entertainers.
Great stuff.
Entertainers.
Great stuff.
Now, before we get into the main event, I wanted to pair these two together because it's the fallout from the main event of Revolution. So we do a Sunday night after the pay-per-view backstage interview with first MJF. And MJF is just smelling his shit and thinking it's great, right? He's saying, I'm the best guy in the world. I got a horn growing out of my head. If you watch the highlights of the press conference that they did, he fucking killed that too. But he just says, like, my reign of terror is just starting. You all are idiots. I'm ruling forever.
Best in the world.
Best in the world. So what do you think about that first MJF promo? I thought it was good, but what do you think about the content?
Great. I like, how he's pointing out that he's like, this was everybody's greatest in the world, like best wrestler in the world, my ass. Like, I just fucking defeated this guy. Nobody's touching me. Now daddy's single and fucking, wherever they were. Yeah, like, oh, I love it. I can't get enough MJF right now. I think he's top 3, if not the best, at almost every aspect of pro wrestling.
Oh, right now? Yeah. Oh my God. So I will still say, week in, week out, giving you original, different stories that flow one thing into the next. Personally, I'm still going to say Eddie Kingston's the best, because it doesn't feel like there's ever been a script given to Eddie Kingston. He just fucking does his shit, right? But with the one-liners and the rewatches and the matches, yeah, MJF is that fucking guy. He's the goddamn man. Like, I almost every week will rewatch or revisit one line or one move or something from what he did, Revolution included. Like, that match was incredible. The best Iron Man match, I think, ever, possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
That was a legit, like, advertised Iron Man match. Because if I'm being honest with you, I still think that the draw between Hangman and Bryan Danielson that was just for the championship was probably a better match, but they didn't advertise that as this is an Iron Man match. It was just whoever wins, and we just happened to go 60 minutes, right? But this was advertised as an Iron Man match. That's why I think it's the best of all time. Now we go to the other side, and again, I'm on chemo. I'm on heart pressure medicine. I'm on a lot of fucking concoctions right now. So my emotions go up and down. So I'm not the most stable person. However, I don't know if I've damn near cried because of an AEW promo, and this one almost got me. Bryan Danielson sitting in just dry blood from an Iron Man match he just took part in, sitting on the ground, not in a chair, not on a table, not on the doctor's, whatever they're called, right? Like, he's just sitting on the ground by himself. Talks about how never give up, right? That's kind of John Cena-esque at the start. Never give up. You always keep fighting. And I always kept fighting. But when I came back, from consciousness because MJF cheated and hit him with the air tank. I was caught in the yes lock. I think it's what it's called. What is it called in AEW? The LaBelle lock? I think he just calls it the LaBelle lock. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gene LaBelle, Judo Gene LaBelle. If you don't know who it is, fucking Google it. The guy's a fucking legend. And he said, when I came to, I couldn't feel my arms and I had no way to use my legs.
Yeah, he said he couldn't feel his legs either, I think is what he was saying. Like, he said his first instinct was to fight, but then he realized like he couldn't feel these things. And that's when he said he was reminded of MJF telling him, when I'm done with you, you're not going to be able to play with your kids. And it hit me that like, I am putting myself above them. And,
he said, and he was right. And that's the most disappointing. It more disappointing than tapping out was that. And then he says, I might be done, or I can't remember.
I gotta
exactly.
go, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home or something. And again,
time for me to go, that, I think he said.
Yeah, it's time for me to go. By that line, I had a tear. Legitimately, I had a tear down my eye because I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" That. Oh
yeah, I did not think. We discussed this left and right about will Bryan Danielson win this or like what all this, but I don't think any of us saw. Oh, he's going away after this coming, and the way he told it in that believability, and even to talk about the end of that match, that's what hit me hardest about the end of this. I was like, Bryan Danielson just tapped out to MJF, right? Like this wasn't a yes, it was, he did heel tactics to get him in that position, but he didn't pass out.
Yeah, it wasn't his body failed him.
Right. He gave up. And this wasn't even in the context of like, we still have more time for me to recover from that. This was, I'm losing this match and the title, the tap was one of the like just the most artistic points of that match. And then to use that in this promo, which was just, God, look, Bryan Danielson has never been a bad promo. I wouldn't say I'm sure he's had some bad promos in his life, but like this was probably the best. I mean, even through the whole, against the authority thing and the, the Occupy Raw stuff, like he had some great stuff in there. This is one of the best I've seen from him right here. This was this reminded me of the Christopher Daniels when he was the one we never saw on TV where he was like, I don't want to go, right? Like, I don't want to leave, kind of different, right? This is, I've got to go, but this was good stuff.
Yeah. The part that got me the most was that he acknowledged that MJF was right.
Yeah.
And that he let down his family because he was being selfish.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is deep on so many different levels. And here's the thing. Bryan Danielson has been Jericho-esque with the, I don't need to win every fucking match. I can be losing a match. You can stack me on top of Edge at WrestleMania and Roman Reigns wins. Jericho can get fired from Raw and get thrown in a dumpster. They're willing to put themselves into interesting situations for the viewer. So him losing in AEW is not necessarily a new thing. He lost to Hangman, lost to Moxley. Now he's lost to MJF. So losing title matches isn't necessarily like a never happened before. However, now this throws a whole wrench into my AEW 5-year plan, Tim. I have this all written out. Who's going to be the champions, when, and all of that.
Hire T-Mac.
Yeah, but now I got to throw it all away because I got to go out to fucking the sticks in Washington and find Bryan Danielson and give him a hug and say, hey, brother, we got to get back on the horse because you're the best in the world. Huh.
MJF is the best in the world.
Oh, my God. Tim, look, Bryan Danielson has always been cool. If I have an action figure of you, I think you're great. And I got an action figure of Bryan Danielson, right? But I've never been the, you gotta push him because he's the best. I just liked his stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the week before when he's like, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. Like, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I don't know if I've ever slingshotted a wrestler to the top of my favorites list as quick as I did after a promo from Bryan Danielson. Thought it was absolutely amazing.
I agree with you. I think I'm having a little camera issues.
So,
you may have to
well,
you may have to continue while I fix this on the backside.
All right. Well, then, okay. So after that heartfelt gut punch of a promo, and then we got our acclaim segments and things like that, we get to our main event. As mentioned before, it is a Falls Count Anywhere match for the AEW TNT Championship. And this was pretty expected. It started in the back, which was a little bit out of the box. And they're hitting each other, doing all the fun things. They make their way to the ring conveniently, which I always think is funny. But then they go up to the stage, right? And again, we're talking big moments, big mat moves, all the stuff. But Tim, I don't know if you had in your bingo card, QT Marshall interferes in main event to cost Wardlow the TNT Championship. But that's what happened tonight. What did you think of
completely wild? Completely
QT
wild.
Marshall?
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I love it. Love every minute of it. I'm excited to see more, but did not expect it in the slightest.
Well, he's our best friend, QT Marshall. You know, QT is one of our favorites. So it's great to see him in the main event. He had a new shirt. Apparently, he said on his Twitter page that the factory is no more. So he's kind of rolling solo. He also is now rolling with Hobbs. Is that what we're to believe, that now they're like a power duo? What do you make of the post match? So your new TNT champion, Powerhouse Hobbs, is again your TNT champion, but him and QT Marshall are hugging and celebrating like they won, like they're two members of the Kansas City Chiefs because they're acting like they won the Super Bowl. What do you think of this pairing of QT and Powerhouse Hobbs?
I don't hate it. I think QT is a great manager for somebody, and I'm glad that it's on somebody that actually has some oomph, some weight here, right? So, somebody that's like, look, we talked about this with Stokely Hathaway, right? Like, great, you're one of the best managers out there, but when it's all, lower card guys, what does it matter? But Powerhouse Hobbs, we've got a good, strong mid-carder, potential upper card guy down the run here, and this is perfect for what a manager is for, is getting a guy like that to where he needs to be.
I agree. So, yeah, we leave Dynamite with a new TNT champion, a heartfelt promo from Bryan Danielson that I think I'm going to remember as part of his character arc for maybe the rest of his career. Hangman delivering yet another heartfelt promo that made you believe every word he said. Good in-ring action. Orange Cassidy being the MVP. And another great solid episode of Dynamite. So very excited. They're going to Canada next week. Have some fun matches up there because, again, I think they kind of go big when they go international, and Canada is not America, so that is international somewhat, even though it's on the same continent. And then after that, Tim, they're coming to Independence, and we're going to the show here in Kansas City. And side note, before we get into WWE, I do want to share this. I got my ticket today. I'm going to AEW Slam Dunk. And you go like, what the fuck is that? Well, AEW Outreach, or whatever the fuck it's called, that does things in the communities, come into Independence. They're going to my high school to play basketball games. And fans, if you bought a ticket, which I did, can play against them in a number of games. 3-point contest, AEW, which is their version of horse. You can play them in knockout, a number of different games. Advertised there is Big Show, Paul White, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Powerhouse Hobbs, Satnam Singh, Jade Cargill. So I tell you what, I'm very excited for them to come to town. I'm very excited for the episode next week. But I think I'm the most excited to be in my old high school and play AEW wrestlers in some good old basketball games.
That is super exciting. I love it when AEW comes to town, and that is a really cool, like, extra thing for you, especially on there, where they're going to your old high school. You're going to go in there, show them up a little bit, probably dunk on Satnam Singh, like,
easy. That's easy work.
And I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to figure out what the hell's going on right now. For anybody watching the live stream, my side just froze, so I just keep putting Tom up there. So you're hearing me, but you're not seeing me because the Zoom says it's not responding, but it's working for the moment. So I'm trying to let it go for right now. So if this crashes and whatever, now it looks like Tom just froze too. So maybe it's a good point for us to, let me try to fix this real quick here. Let me try to fix this. All right, you still with us, Tom? Yep, Tom's off. Give me one moment while I fix this here. Second here.
There it
Recording
is.
in progress.
Hey, Tim.
And we're back. Look at that. See,
Okay.
Theo said in the chat earlier when I said computers suck, he said computers don't suck, you got to maintain them. I'll tell you what does suck, apps like Zoom, because that was the problem here.
Why did you not update it?
No, it just kept it. At one point I froze, and then it had the spinning wheel, but you were still going. So I didn't want to stop it to do what just happened. But then you froze too, so then I just had to stop it. But thankfully, we're all still here. Everything's still going. We're still connected.
Okay, well, so
technical difficulties is what it is.
Of course, it is what it is. So we had a good stopping point because that was our coverage recap of AEW Dynamite and AEW Revolution as a whole. So as I was mentioning, let's transition now to WWE. Now, obviously, anyone who's listening, as I said, we're not the biggest fans of WWE. However, we can't ignore it because we are currently on the road to WrestleMania. And Tim, for all the shit that I give AEW, that I give WWE, and they deserve it, they are doing one thing pretty fucking great. And that is the Sami Zayn Bloodline Kevin Owens storyline. So, Tim, did you catch Raw? Did you catch the advancements in this storyline on Monday?
I did. I like the ending where for a second there we thought Jey Uso was turning his back on his brother. Not even turning his back on his brother, but just like not siding with his brother and the bloodline and being like, Sammy's right. And I'm the next one to defect. And right when I was like, right, fuck yeah, because we've shit on this story for a while of, hey, they're not really advancing anything. They keep telling us the same thing over and over again. And it felt like as soon as we said that, because they were listening, that started to change. And now it's some of the best wrestling television out there, right? The way they keep advancing the story, and it's great. And so I'm like happy. I'm like, fuck yeah, right? When Jey Uso did that thing to his brother and he comes out there and he hugs Sammy, I'm like, yeah, I'm like getting pumped. And then we get the super kick. And I felt almost like when Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty. Like, no, right? Like I had my hopes up. And I love it. Like Jey Uso's gonna be like, you think I would choose you? You think I was gonna choose you? Great stuff. I still don't know if that's even fully where this ends up, right? Like maybe Jey Uso didn't necessarily side fully yet with, you know what I mean? Or maybe there's still time to come, right? And that's what I think the story is good right now is kind of, man, what is happening here? We don't necessarily know what's going on for good reasons, right?
So there was a lot of good stuff from this storyline on Monday night. So let's even back up to the start of the show. So we had Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. And before Jimmy and Solo could take advantage of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn comes down to interrupt. They run off. Sammy offers his hand to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is like, man, fuck out of here, right? Then Sammy finds him backstage and was like, hey, Kevin, I get it. We don't have to be like the best friends like we used to. We don't have to ride together. We don't have to team together like in tag team matches to go for like the championships, right? But I can't beat these assholes by myself. You can't beat these assholes by yourself. But I think we can beat this bloodline together. And Kevin Owens gave him the, I don't know who you think you're talking to speech, and told Sami Zayn, hey, I messed up. Actually, go tell Roman you like him again. Like, go back. I bet you he'll take you back. You'll be fine. Just go back. And leave Sami high and dry. Now, as we go to the main event, which is Sami versus Jimmy, Jay comes down and essentially costs Jimmy the match by being a distraction, and Sami Zayn picks up the victory. And now this is where I'm reading into it. And this is what's great is a storyline like we get in AEW. You can interpret it, but then they'll tell you as it happens. So you might be getting off on some side roads, but then they'll get you back into what the story is that they want to tell you, right? So currently I'm kind of off on a side road. I don't know if this is what they're saying, but I like it and I'm interested. So how I took this main event is Jay goes down there because he's conflicted because it's his brother and his best friend, who is like his brother, fighting each other. And so he just has to be there because he can't look away. Best seat in the house is to be right next to it. So that's where he's going to be. He sees Jimmy lose. He knows, and again, we're recording this on a Wednesday night. SmackDown is yet to happen, but he knows on Friday, if Jay is not back in the bloodline, Jimmy pays for it. And Jimmy just lost to Sami Zayn. So I think it clicked in his head, oh, fuck, my brother might get murdered. Because if you recall how this all started, Roman Reigns was going to kill Jimmy in front of Jay until Jay said, I quit in their I quit match, right? So fast forward to now. So I think when Jay comes into the ring and he holds Jimmy's shirt and is kind of saying like, man, I think if you weren't my brother, I don't know if I would side with you, but you're my brother. And then he rolls to the ring. And I still am thinking that this is legit. He gives Sami the hug of a life, a hug that's like, I'm on death row and this is the last hug I get, right? And he hugs Sami Zayn and he's like, I trust you. I love you. And I think he's genuine in that moment.
But I got to do this, see.
And he looks back at Jimmy, and that's when he throws up the one as in, as he said, this is my family. Like, Sami, you're great, but you're not my brother. Throws up the one. Sami, being just like a puppy dog who just got adopted, is like, this is great. He throws it up too. And then the sidekick right to the heart of Sami Zayn and the world, wrestling world. And then that's when you hear Jay said, you think I was going to choose you? But I don't think he was. I think, again, psychoanalyzing it.
It's just doing what he has to do.
Yeah, he's just saying it as like I'm like,
and maybe, and that's what I mean. I think maybe this is still to come. Maybe Jay now can work with Jimmy and be like, hey man, this ain't the right thing, right? And buy some time and get them out. Or I want to go back to that Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn face-off promo. That was really good stuff too. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn even being like, listen, I this isn't even like, I get it. Like, we're not going to be friends again. Like, I get it. It's not replaceable, but that's not even what this is about. Right. Like, that's whatever. And I think Kevin Owens even being like, yeah, man, like, I get that too, but like, I still don't want to fucking do this with you. Right. Like, you get that, right? Like, just fucking leave me alone. Right. Like, just fucking go away. Right. Like, just fucking stop. Right. Like, just stop. Loved it. Like, it's something that only the two of those could do. You know what I mean? From their lifetime of friendship. And it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
I like that.
The other detail that I really loved on Monday night came again from Sami Zayn. And it's when they both throw up the ones before the super kick. If you go back and watch it, Sami, even though he just fought Jimmy, is yelling into the ring, Jimmy, you have enough time. You can come join us. So he still hasn't closed his heart off from Jimmy Uso. He still thinks like the one that's the corruptible asshole is this guy, right? It's not Jimmy and Jay. They're just pawns in a family Ponzi scheme, for lack of a better term, that only serves Roman Reigns. So even though he just had a match with him and has Haluva kicked him 6 times now, he's still yelling to Jimmy like, you have time. Come to me and Jay. Not even knowing what was going to happen next.
Not expecting it at all.
So now going into Friday, we have the Emperor with all his clothes on and the belts in hand, walk into the ring with his family intact. We have the most sympathetic WWE babyface in recent memory, probably since Daniel Bryan, all alone. There is no one now for Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens said, kick rocks. The Bloodline says, we're going to destroy you. And what the fuck does he do?
He's built this personality and character all along the way anyway that nobody's really his friend left outside of those groups anyway, right? Like, he's been an unlikable character leading up to that, before we made this switch. So there's nobody for Sami Zayn now.
There's no boats
going
on
an
the
island.
same. Yeah, there are no boats going to the island to save Sami Zayn, and just rips your heart out. Absolutely. Look, WWE as a company fucking sucks, and I hope they go down because Vince McMahon is a sexual predator and a monster, and those are enablers around him. Storyline wise, though, I fucking love this. This is really, really good. Yeah,
some of the best stuff they put out in forever.
I agreed. Now let's get on the other foot of this WWE episode of Monday Night Raw. We had the return of the legend. Now I told you, if I have your action figure, I think you're cool. Well, look at that. I have John Cena, right? I have John Cena. I actually have where is it? I actually have an NWO John Cena. That's how much I like him. I got 2 action figures of him. There is moments where John Cena fucking rules. Monday night was not one of them. I told you this off air because I always said I wanted to talk about it. But before I get into my rant, because I'm going to get red in the face and probably pop the microphone a few times, what did you think of John Cena returning to Monday Night Raw to be interrupted by Austin Theory?
My takeaway was it was everything you would expect from John Cena, which is why it was bad, because it was just John Cena comes out and he John Cena's up the place, and just it's every John Cena promo we've heard. And that's not to say John Cena hasn't had his moments when he does those John Cena promos, but he didn't have one of those moments here, right? It was just kind of filler John Cena stuff for me, and it didn't leave me looking forward to this match at all.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So the problem I've always had with John Cena, going back to his prime post Doctor of Thugonomics. Doctor of Thugonomics was great, but it didn't age well because there's a lot of homophobic slurs and you got a small dick and all of that kind of stuff, which he even said at the end of this promo, Austin Theory has a small dick, which is, again, you're in your 40s. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyhow, but after Dr. Thugonomics, my biggest gripe with John Cena was it's the same fucking story with everyone. It's I'm the champion or I want to be the champion. And after 3 times, I don't fucking care. Like, you got to tell me something different than I'm the champion or I gotta be the champion. You did that for 16 fucking years and it was droning. It was just mind-numbingly stupid. That's why we went and gravitated to the CM Punks and Daniel Bryans. I mean, those guys are good, but you get what I'm like. That's why we gravitated to them, because you were such a oxygen-sucking baby face that took everything out of the room. Now, when he came back and he's done this post main event run where he's the Hollywood guy that comes back, I think he did really well that first time around when Roman Reigns wasn't the bloodline, when he was still like, I'm Roman Reigns with the tactical vest, and he's like, the reason I'm coming back is because you can't do your job, right? What I liked about that, and the point I want to make here going to Monday night, was when he did that to Roman Reigns.
Right.
He said, "You're good. You're really good. The thing is, you're not great." And you can get behind that story, or you can understand that story as far as like, okay, John Cena's saying like, to take this company to the next level that he loves, he's got to prove to Roman Reigns or push Roman Reigns to his limit for the betterment of the company. Fine. Monday night, he comes out and in so many words says, "Hey guys, doesn't Austin Theory fucking suck? Why do we care about Austin fucking Theory? Man, this guy is a bitch. Hey, WWE has to fucking put in filler sound because no one fucking cares about Austin Theory." And man, that does not make me, as a casual viewer,
yeah, I think he called him
WWE,
forgettable. I think he called him every not even like just like mean things, just like, hey, you're unforgettable, you're boring, right? Like,
yeah,
all of it.
And if you're the John Cena fan, right? Let's take our mind to being a John Cena diehard. Well, then fuck Austin Theory. I don't care. There's no drama in the match with Austin Theory because John Cena's way better. So where's the intrigue going into it? Now, again, Austin Theory most likely will win if we're peeking behind the curtain. But the story in kayfabe world is John Cena's the greatest of all time, and Austin Theory can't even spell his own fucking name. So who fucking cares? Like, you did more detriment to the story with your promo than if you just would have showed up, said yes, gave him an AA and 6 fingers and walked out. That would have been better than what you said, because it was absolutely ruthless to the company. Because what you told me is, hey, if you like WWE, watch Peacock, because that's the shit that's good. Today, this all fucking sucks. Especially this guy who represents the future. He's dog shit. Look at him. He wears fucking sunglasses indoors. He fucking sucks.
Yeah, it was bad. There wasn't anything. Yeah, it didn't build up a match. Like you said, it just made Austin Theory look like a chump.
And it made the company look like a chump. Because again, I don't mind when it's, I'm better than you, and this is why I'm better than you, because you cut corners or you don't do it the honorable way. But in every feud, even if you want to take the devil himself, MJF, he gives credit to the person that he's going up against. With Bryan Danielson, he said, "Oh, you guys think that's the greatest wrestler in the world? He's good, but he ain't me." And that's the difference. There's always, even when it was Ricky Starks, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, it was always this, hey, if we're not in the same company together, I actually think you're pretty good. But because I'm here, I don't think you're that good because I'm better. And there's the feud. But with this, it's, God damn it, the fans are making me have to do this because they just want to see you get your ass kicked, Austin, and I guess I'll do it. So, okay, fuck out of here. That was probably I gotta choose my words carefully here. That's the worst in kayfabe promo that I can remember. I'd say the worst promo, but the worst promo is when Stephanie McMahon led a chant of "Thank you, Vince" after he was convinced of being a sexual predator. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Something we did forget. We talked about AEW Dynamite, and thus, as we were doing that, we kind of talked about Revolution because it was some of the fallout, and we missed one match because they didn't reference it or talk about it at all on Dynamite of things that happened in Revolution. Look, we talked about the Iron Man match, right? We talked about the women's championship match. We talked about the Texas Death match. We talked about how the Guns kept the tag team titles just to set up FDR coming back. We talked about Wardlow. We talked about Jericho and Ricky Starks. We talked about the Elite and House of Black. They did have a 0 hour, that's often throwaway, but Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Christian Cage, they didn't mention this on Dynamite at all. They had a final burial match, and Jungle Boy won, but we didn't hear anything about it. What do you think we did?
I think we did.
Cut out of here.
Well, I think we did, and I missed it, unfortunately, because I take bad notes. He did do
I don't even remember it. And
I believe so. I think if I remember, he said this was therapeutic. I saw him as a father. It was really hard for me to do.
Oh, did they do like a little vignette or something?
Yeah, but it was really quick.
Okay,
and I think I missed the notes because, again, we don't fact check, and we did it the night before. Usually I had my notes better when we do it on Thursday. I'm kidding, but I think I missed it. But with that being said, I thought the match was pretty cool. Honestly, if I'm being serious, I think the coolest moment was when he shuts the casket and it immediately drops.
I think I like that. I like that add to it, right? You're shutting the casket and they're dropping him down, which is what happens, when somebody's laid to rest. However, it looked to happen at an unsafe speed. Like that thing, looked like it just, the whole thing spun out. I was like, is Christian okay? He got a concussion from that.
Took more damage from the casket than he did Jungle Boy.
Yeah, maybe that's why we didn't hear about it. Maybe he's dead.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't.
I thought it was good. I thought with the finish of what it was, I think the only critique I have of it is it was very, very good. And I was into it a lot. Taking out the real elements of Christian injured his shoulder. So that's why we had to prolong this a little bit. If this is a movie that doesn't happen, you get what I'm saying. So I excuse that. But for the story of what it was, the only thing that I critique is Jungle Boy did not necessarily tell us, at least in my opinion, how much Christian meant to him. He said, hey, man, you did me wrong. What the fuck? Which is okay. But when he does the burial and he kind of puts his hands, when he put Christian's hands like it was a real fucking burial and then looked up and got emotional, I felt like we didn't tell that. We just told it right then.
Yeah.
We didn't say, hey, the reason why I'm so hurt is because my father passed away and I saw you filling those shoes. We didn't really get that. So that's splitting hairs. I'm just,
Yeah. Yeah, and I just don't know if this is something we're going to continue now or if it's done, if we're going to get the whole I laid Jungle Boy to rest when I laid Christian, who knows? Maybe we won't. But I'm interested to see what happens next for Jack Perry, I suppose. I mentioned the 0 hour, and there was a 0 hour match, but the absolute most entertaining thing about 0 hour was RJ City. That guy doing the backstage promos, the interviews. When he asked Hobbs, he was like, so can I see it? And he was like, what? And he was like, can I see it? And he was like, it's pretty big, isn't it? And he's like, oh, you want to see it? He's like, you want to see it right now? And he like holds up the big brass ring and he's like, wow. He's like, my ring is way smaller. Just love it.
And then like, what are you wearing? As if it's an Oscar red carpet. I thought, And I also thought Renee Paquette doing a in the audience type of pre-show where there's no desk. She's just standing there taking direction in her ear and then running with it live on the YouTube pre-show. I thought that was very impressive as well. Going back though, real quick to the Jungle Boy Christian thing. The one thing though that still sticks out to me like a sore thumb is, and again, breaking kayfabe, I know there's a lawsuit, but he's got to come back, you think. What are we doing with Luchasaurus? Where does he fall in all of this?
Yeah, I don't know. Where does he fall in all of this? And then where does he fall outside of it later, right? Like I know there's this lawsuit over the mask, but man, a lot of stuff still to be shored up. That's why I kind of don't know if maybe we're necessarily done with this, but I also don't know that I want them to continue with it at the moment. So I don't know.
Yeah, I almost want to see Luchasaurus be brought back to AEW by someone else. Someone not spooky necessarily,
but a monster. Somebody needs a monster to achieve their thing. Yeah. Right. Maybe a cutie or something or what, although he's doing the thing with Hobbs.
Or if you want to bring him back as a babyface, give it enough time, and you say Brody King is running rampant on Rampage, and then here comes Luchasaurus to say, Brody King, you ain't the big monster on the block. Yeah.
Or even if he's heel, have him be in the House of Black. Have him be the next, you know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be cool. He just makes dinosaur noises the entire time. He never actually talks.
Right. Yeah. He just appears out of things, right? Like just doesn't even have to be Luchasaurus. Just if you're embroiled in this lawsuit or whatever, then just have him be something else for the time being, right? And be Mantar.
And then Jungle Boy, him and Jungle Boy can reconcile back to my original thing where it's I'm a dinosaur. That's still the best story.
Dinosaur. Yes, because then he can be he's a man, right? He's just a man. Yeah. That's the thing. The House of Black could break him down. You're not a dinosaur. You're a man. You know what I mean? Like you're you're a spirit or whatever, right? You're not a dinosaur. You're just, you know what I mean? Like maybe you were millions of years ago, but your spirit now is with the House of Black, right? Yeah,
and the babyface turn is Jungle Boy says like, "No, man, you were my dinosaur.
You are a dinosaur.
I'm a dinosaur.
Oh, wait, it's dinosaur."
I might pitch that at the basketball game on Tuesday night. Yes. If Tony Khan's there, I'm like, "Look, motherfucker, I got one story I need to tell you that you need to go with. Here it is. Give me 20 minutes. I'll go back home. I got it written out. I'll bring it back to you."
It fits so great with the AW crowd too, because if he's in mid-ring and he yells out, "I'm a dinosaur," the crowd is going to go nuts. They're going to go nuts. There's going to be "I'm a dinosaur" signs and shirts.
Oh,
you'll be rich thanks to us, Tony Khan.
Oh, you make dinosaur hats? Like, the little kids that wear the onesies and it has like the dinosaur things on their hood. Yep. You get little dinosaur hoodies like that. Oh my God.
I'm a dinosaur shirt. People be like,
and then the hood. And the hood is the little bumps.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Tony.
But anyway,
come on.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to take a break. We need to get out of here. We've had enough technical difficulties for 1 week. I think we've talked a bunch. Oh, what do you got?
I'll say this, Tony Khan, when I do see you at the basketball game at William Chrisman, if you don't like the story that I pitched to you, just say orange.
The Spanish announce table.